if you're looking for something to read, here's a book that should resonate. The Lockdown Collection is just that, stories from writers under lockdown. Melinda Ferguson is one of those writers, and in fact, she joins me now to tell us a bit more about this book. She's also the publisher of this collection. Melinda, good evening. Interesting that you've gotten together some of the world's big, the countries, and I suppose in many respects, globally recognized writers to put together this collection.
Yeah, I think it's been an insane time for South Africa. I don't know if we're day 100 yet. I don't know if we're 98. I've lost count. All I know is that I must have gone insane during lockdown because I've published 3 books on lockdown, in lockdown, and my absolute baby. I have to just show everyone because I'm so proud of this book. 39 of South Africa's best authors, some of them, of course I couldn't put everybody in, but I've got people like Lebo Mashile, Sam Cowan, Stephen Sidley, Fred Khumalo, Shabalala. I've just got a list of the most, Sisonke Msimang. I've got a list of the most incredible writers who all put their hearts and souls together. I gave them a brief. I said, write about lockdown. You've got about 7 days, and they all delivered. So I'm a very proud mommy.
I suppose that the graphics on the front of the book is also quite deliberate because all you see is orange, and that takes you immediately to orange overalls behind prison walls.
Exactly. And if you look at the cover carefully, it's like an extended Zoom meeting, because there's a picture of every single person in the book. And we all have been communicating either on Teams or Zoom. We're doing Zoom right now. So I wanted to create a sense of like the whole of South Africa in a Zoom meeting. And then, of course, lockdown is another name for a kind of a prison situation. So lockdown, it looks like Polsmoor, basically.
Let's talk about what somebody can expect when they read the book. What are the kind of insights and stories that you've asked these writers to put into it?
So I think what was quite miraculous, I never gave them a definite brief. I chose people because of their talent. So someone like Professor Phumla, my award-winning writer of Rape: A South African Nightmare, who won the Alan Paton back in 2016 for her phenomenal book. I knew she was going to write something sociologically incisive. So she wrote for this book about movement and the lack of movement in the time of COVID, and then the kind of history of the restriction of movement in South Africa. Then I would have someone like Ben Travato, who is hilarious. He writes amazing, satirical, hardcore comedy. So there's also a lighter edge. You get your deeper and, in a way, darker pieces. Sarah Jane McQuarrie King, who wrote Killing Caroline, a fantastic author. She's written about finding a way to get onto her knees and pray. So there's also a kind of a spiritual thread that runs through the book. It's not all doom and gloom. There are pieces that give great hope and courage. And then there are also pieces like Melusi Shabalala's piece, which is called Lockdown Love. And it's a WhatsApp love affair that he has in lockdown, mostly written in Zulu, with translation for the Mlungus. And basically, it's hilarious, it's dirty, it's sexy. And so I was so amazed how creative my 39 authors were when I gave them such a wide brief.
In many ways, part of what this book also does is that it becomes part of the history-making process of this period and what people will look back on, and even perhaps generations that were not part of it but can live through the experiences, through the voices of these authors.
Exactly, Cathy. For me, it's like our 9/11, our World War I. Things that we haven't experienced, maybe a lot of us in our lifetimes. I mean, I've always thought I was the generation that was lucky, that I haven't been involved in a war. And so for me, this has got a lot of similarities to being in some kind of battle, some kind of war, and we're going to hopefully one day be out of this, and we'll look back and try and remember what happened. And so this book for me is an important historical record.
Sure. You've certainly intrigued my curiosity. Where can people go to get their hands on a copy?
Oh, well, the good news is that it's out in store. So my two first books were only published as ebooks because all the printers were closed. So this one is wonderful. It's got paper and you can hold it. So all over the country, exclusive books, CNA, bargain books, love books, smaller bookshops, a reader's warehouse. And I think what's amazing about most bookshops is that they are delivering. So if people don't want to go outside to a shopping center, they can phone exclusive books or order online, and it gets delivered in 24 hours.
All right. Well, Melinda, it sounds like this is going to be another hit if what you've said about it is anything to go by. Thank you so much for coming on to the Pulse tonight. There you have it, the Lockdown Collection. Certainly an insightful book, and I think especially hearing from all those different authors that have contributed, I'm certainly excited about what lies within those pages.